Pat, congratulations preemptively and welcome back to 360.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks for having me.
Coach says, not even close to the end. How does that feel for you?
Well, it feels pretty good, I reckon. Well, I'm definitely closer to the end, but not enjoying footy any less. That's certainly true as I get older.
So this is a rare milestone in the history of the game, only the 25th player to do so. Have you got a sense of what it does mean to you?
It's been lovely to have a few phone calls throughout the week and plenty of text messages from old teammates and old players that I used to play against, and that's sort of been a nice little reflective piece, I suppose, because you get a few different random texts and then it takes you back to, the early days of Adelaide or, playing against some champions of the game and little moments like that. So it's been nice to reflect. I don't often do it. I don't think players do it often, and it's probably only milestones that they do sort of take a step back. But it's been nice to sort of live in the moment a bit this week and, recollect.
Well deserved, Patrick. Congratulations. The praise and adulation's only going to reach a peak when you run out there on Friday night. So sit back and enjoy all that. I was taken by what Chris said to us on Monday night. Sat here and, he was just said, look, it's not even close. And then you've had some soft tissues that have enabled you to have breaks through the year. Now, I know you don't plan for that, but the bottom line is that the transformation is on. The midfield the days of the midfield we're not behind you forever. You'll make cameos, but you now sort of set yourself for the final phase, I would imagine, as a forward. How was that presented to you? How have you embraced it? And are you comfortable in the role?
Very comfortable in it, Gaz. I think it evolved throughout the pre-season as we feel like as a team there's some, the players are more than capable of taking their own games in there to the next level, and the game is very much a transition game that as you get older, and it was never truly my one wood, Gaz, as you would know. For me, it was about power on the game. The position that enables you to do that most effectively is forward, where you can, you can pick your moments, and then when it's time to accelerate and hit a contest, you can do it. But it's just not the same cut and thrust that, is required in the modern midfield role, which is, in say the heyday, my peak, which was a while ago now. It was around that sort of 12.5 to 14K mark, but around the 12 and a bit. And that's evolved and does evolve for every player. I remember modelling a bit of my game off Joe, because Scott Campriali, who was one of my midfield coaches, my midfield coach at Adelaide, and a really big impact on my career, Job would go around the centre square and it would just be contest to contest and the next contest. So, and he would do around 8.5 to 9Ks a game and really impact, which is, extraordinary to think that you could run only that far but still really impact and get a lot of the footy. So it's changed over time, but as a 35-year-old, understanding where my body's at now, the forward role, it suits me, and it's not easier to keep weight off as you get older. But what it does enable you to do is to wrestle with a few of the big monster defenders.
Yeah, and so we have a look at these numbers. I'm not sure whether you saw them when they come up. So you've got to reconcile the fact that you're going to get less footy, having spent most of your career accumulating plenty, but have more impact with, the opportunities that come. And you've made an unbelievable fist of that. So there will be times, I'd imagine, you'll come off the field feeling like you haven't, not played, but you haven't contested in the manner that you have. Is that hard to get your head around?
Yeah, it is. It's funny. I was chatting to Gaz Jr. This morning, and we were talking around that, because that was obviously how he ended his career, and you just wrap your head around the impact and how you're just going to spend less time around the ball making the moments count. But it doesn't make it any easier when you can feel like you're in good touch and playing a good game of footy, but you haven't touched the ball for 15 minutes. Yeah. And you might only touch it for 2 or 3 times in a quarter. So mentally, that's a different challenge in itself. And it's been really good to understand, the forward craft and what our forwards go through in terms of being a byproduct of the play up the field and the resolve that you need to have in order to keep yourself in the contest mentally as much as physically.
The most striking aspects of the season, I think, Pat, with you has been how dynamic you are, how powerful you are. And I guess we plotted this through some of the soft tissue injuries, whether there was a point you were going to have to trade away some of that. But it looks like you haven't had to. So you've modified the game from mid to forward, but you haven't had to trade away your power. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that probably the big thing that affects it mostly in terms of soft tissue for me is just the fatigue. And you're just under less fatigue playing forward. There's more acceleration. So there's parts of my game physically that are a significant uplift on the last 2 years compared to midfield time because you've got the accelerations and the decelerations that have gone right up. You're spending less time in that sort of 20-odd K mark jogging from contest to contest. But when you go, it's really time to go. And I think that's, you've got to keep that part of your game as you get older. And as soon as you lose your power and your speed, it's pretty hard to compete. So I don't feel like I've lost that part of my game. There's other parts that have deteriorated, but I don't feel like the speed and power piece, I feel as powerful as I did 5-10 years ago, to be honest. Just don't quite have that ability to back it up over long stretches and for high kilometres. But I still feel like if the ball's there to be gotten and I can attack it in the air or on the ground, I can do that as well as I ever have.